Subreddit HFY The Foundling, Part 2 by Polite Badger. Maverick's breathing was ragged. The creature was much heavier than it looked. It had stopped wailing some time ago, and now only gave an occasional whimper. Now that it was not screaming, it was almost cute, if he squinted a little. The creature's eyes still made him uneasy, though. They were light brown and stared unblinkingly at Maverick's face. Curiously, its hands each had only 4 fingers, with 1 thumb, instead of the normal 5 fingers and 2 thumbs. Maverick laughed at the absurdity, and wondered how it could do anything with such strange hands. As if agreeing with him, the creature made a burbling noise, and grabbed at one of Maverick's fingers with its own tiny ones. Maverick gasped in alarm. The creature's grip was abnormally strong. It hadn't exactly hurt, but he was surprised nonetheless. Not for the last time, Maverick wondered where it had come from. He didn't have any real answers, but he felt that it deserved a name at least. Tane? Balek? Boka? He eventually settled on Tale, because it was so small. They continued walking on in silence. It was late afternoon now. Tale eventually grew still. Maverick panicked for a moment, afraid it had some fatal injury he had missed. He was relieved to find it was still breathing softly. How little Tale could sleep while being carried 3 meters off the ground was beyond him. By the time Maverick returned to Hine and the wagon, dusk was beginning to fall. Hine's face lit up when she saw Maverick from afar. She'd been sitting very still on the wagon box since he'd disappeared from sight several hours ago. She was quickly regretting allowing him to go alone, safety of the wagon or not. She'd spent the afternoon imagining all manner of harmful situations he could have gotten himself into. She recalled that Maverick had been favoring one leg over the other 3 after one of the water dispersal units had collapsed on him a couple months ago. What if he had lost his balance and fallen? Hine squinted. Maverick was holding some small deformed creature in his arms. It was very ugly, with skin the color of cracked mud, and something about it unnerved her. "By the gods, what is that thing?" she exclaimed as Maverick drew nearer. At the sudden noise, the thing began to squirm, and let out a high-pitched wail. Maverick sighed. "I'm calling it Tale." "You named it?" cried Hine, aghast. "Its eyes, It's just for now," he said defensively. Maverick patiently explained what he had found. Hine softened towards it a bit when he told her what happened to its mother, and it was hard to be scared of such a small creature, she told herself. Maverick handed the still screaming Tale to his wife, then rummaged through the back of the wagon. He picked out several tubers and a thermos. After such a long walk, he was parched, and the honey-colored liquid inside was still warm. It felt good in the rapidly cooling air. He offered some to Hine, who declined stiffly, holding the still screeching child in her lap. Maverick wondered if Tale was thirsty too. In his pocket, Maverick had a small triangular piece of cloth, akin to a pocket handkerchief. It was clean. Hine had made sure of that. He dipped one end of the cloth into the thermos and held it to Tale's mouth. Tale grabbed it and began sucking. He seemed to like it. He'd stopped screaming anyway. Maverick took a small knife from inside his robe and began peeling the tubers. Tale was captivated. With a pang, Maverick was reminded of when his own son was a youngling. He'd had that same burning curiosity. Neither he nor Hine had seen Narek in more than 3 cycles, about 9 Earth years. Hine never spoke of him, but he knew she missed Narek at least as much as he did. Maverick wondered if this creature also reminded Hine of their son. Maverick chopped off a small piece of the tuber for Tale, who promptly spit it out. His small funny face scrunched up again, which meant, as Maverick now knew, that Tale was going to begin wailing once more. Neither Narek nor any other Ma'anian child ever made such god-awful noises, so persistently. Clearly, they had much more sense. Hine was becoming agitated, he realized. It was well and truly dark now. The strange alien on her lap wouldn't stop screaming, and they were still too far from the city to reach it until tomorrow morning. She passed Tale back to him, a little rougher than was strictly necessary, and grabbed a small transparent ball from behind the wagon seat. She thwacked it a few times, and a soft glow emanated from its center. Hine exhaled, feeling a bit safer now. She knew it was foolish to be frightened of something so small, but she couldn't help it. Tale was shaking violently, and his lips had taken on a bluish tint. What was it doing now? Wondered Maverick tiredly. He racked his brain. He would do anything to keep Tale quiet. Hine suspected it was cold, and unwillingly relinquished one of the fabrics, a shawl she had brought to sell. The shawl easily enveloped Tale, and eventually the thing quieted back down. Hine leaned against Maverick's shoulder, and prepared for an uncomfortable sleep. We'll take it to the authorities first thing tomorrow morning, right? Mumbled Hine sleepily. Yeah, sure. Maybe someone there can take him back home, responded Maverick. Him? Thought Hine uneasily. Stars above, her fool of a husband actually wanted to keep the little monster. Despite the disturbing revelation, Hine eventually managed to drift off to sleep.